Hey, what's up? I'm Kim Witte of Witte Artistry, and I'm a special effects makeup artist. I'm going to teach you how to create a realistic looking bruise using the Narrative Cosmetics FX Alcohol Activated Palette. Let's begin. I'm going to show all of the items I'm going to be using to create this look. So everything that's within the kit. I'm going to pull out the colors I'm going to be using specifically to create this bruise. Along with, you're going to need something to apply the makeup with. I highly recommend having a handful of different brushes and then using these wedge sponges, tearing out some irregular holes in it. It'll be great for texturing later. Now we're going to activate the makeup using either 99% isopropyl alcohol or the activator in the palette. If you use the activator in the palette, just use 1 to 3 drops. All right, taking those sponges, we're going to be stippling on prime yellow in an ovally half moon kind of shape. I wanted to simulate the wound that would be caused by getting hit with like a softball or a baseball in your arm. So the impact spot is usually white, and then around that you will have all of the bruising, the broken capillaries and whatnot. So I laid down yellow. This will simulate the healing, and now I'm using the prime red to stipple all into that crescent moon shape. Whenever you're stippling with the sponges, make sure you're doing so irregularly so a pattern does not form in the bruise. Now using the prime blue to add some stippling into the bruise as well. On the bottom right hand side where you see the bruise is thicker, that's usually what happens with bruises. At the impact spot, the blood will pool in the meatier part of the arm or the leg. So that's the thicker part of my arm, so that's where I decided to have the bruise be thicker. I'm adding in some fresh blood and bruise tone into the look as well. Stipple that around, bringing back the blue. You'll notice that as I'm working with this bruise, I will be switching back and forth between numerous colors as I go. Like right now, I'm going to add in more yellow. With this product, it is important to go back and forth between layers and apply it thinly. At first, it looks more realistic that way instead of having to blend with a clean sponge and 99% isopropyl alcohol over and over and over again. You can always take off some of the layers or some of the thickness of the paint using the 99% isopropyl alcohol or the activator on a clean sponge. But what you will notice is sometimes you'll get these weird spots that almost looks like, kind of if you drop water on a watercolor painting, it'll create like a little pool around it. So in order to avoid that, we're going to stipple small amounts of each of the color into our bruise and just kind of cycle between them. And occasionally, like I'm doing right now, use a clean sponge with just some of that isopropyl alcohol to blend it. Keep on tapping, adding back in some more blue. Back with your blood. And some more blue as well. Later, I realized that I hadn't brought in purple yet, so I will be bringing out purple to create more of a purplish tone in the bruise. It was getting a little bit too blue, so I will fix that later with the purple. Now for the yellow, since it's the simulating healing color, you want it to spiderweb outward from the bruise, much farther than all the broken capillaries and the pooling blood. Now, after you're done with stippling with the sponges, I found that scumbling makes it look way more realistic. So, scumbling is actually a shading technique where you take a brush or a pencil and you squiggle it around randomly on the surface. So I'm doing that with a watered down purple and the bruise tone. And you just want to randomly move it around on your arm. Don't think about it, don't do a pattern, it's very relaxing. Just scumble it around on the arm, it'll work great. This will make the bruise look way more natural because no matter how much you try to manipulate the sponges or turn them or have a lot of irregular holes, if you're using the same sponge pretty consistently, your brain will notice a pattern. They're really good at noticing patterns. So adding in this scumbling texture and then dolloping on a little bit more color, followed by blending it with a clean sponge with isopropyl alcohol will completely remove all patterns and make it look way more realistic. What's so cool about this alcohol activated paint is how realistic it looks because it's super translucent. It'll actually look like it's sitting underneath the skin. So now that I have built a pretty darn good base, I'm going to be using a lot more of that bruise tone and a lot more of the blue. The bruise tone I found is much better to use towards the end of the bruise because it looks like very purposeful broken capillary locations. And with most bruises, unless if they're like super, super extreme, don't have a lot of those highly pigmented, dark, deep purple spots. So I just waited till the end to add more of that. I'm going to be adding a little bit of the reds bleeding towards the white center part of the bruise. This will have a little bit more of a transition between the impact site and then the part where the blood pools. Now the blues and purples actually represent where the blood will pool underneath the skin. And then the bright reds is the fresh, wounded, broken capillaries. Really cool effect I figured out when I was working with this is if you take a thick, highly bristled brush and a little bit of that yellow and you stipple it around the edge of the bruise, it'll look way more realistic. On top of, as you tap it into the rest of the bruise, it will help blend the bruise and all of the colors together, but without overpowering them with yellow. Adding a little bit more scumbling here and there. Done! Look at how awesome that looks. You could go a little bit more extreme if you wanted or change the bruise shape, but we need to take this off. So let me instruct you on how. You're going to use the remover or 99% isopropyl alcohol, spray it on the wound, let it sit for a bit, and then wipe it off with either a rag or a paper towel or a cotton swab, and then just repeat that process until your arm comes off clean. This stuff is waterproof. It works great in movie scenes, it'll work great in the rain, but this is how you have to remove it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it helps. Please let me know if it does in the comments below, or if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Narrative Cosmetics, for sending me this kit. You guys are awesome. And if you want to get yourself a kit or pieces or parts of this kit, please check the description below for the link or go to narrativecosmetics.com. And a huge shout out to my wonderful Patreon producers. Wah, 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 wah. Without you guys, I couldn't create makeups like this, so thank you so much for helping what I do here and supporting my dreams. Mwah! I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.